Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a bridal tutorial. I cannot believe that I've never done a bridal tutorial on my channel yet. I did film one in the past, but it was a train wreck, so I never uploaded it. I know there's so many different types of bridal makeup and different styles that you're going for. For this video, I decided to go for a really beautiful, pretty, radiant, timeless, just soft. I should have stopped at radiant. I think that was like end of sentence, but I just kept it going and then I ran out of adjectives. So that's where I'm at right now, but I think you guys get the point. I just wanted it to be timeless. So let's just go ahead and get started with the tutorial. First thing for a bridal look or for any special occasion look is to prime your skin. Now for your wedding day or special occasion, you wanna make sure you prime your skin to what your skin type is. So if you have really oily skin, you wanna use a mattifying primer. If you have larger pores, you wanna use something that will fill the larger pores. And if you have dry skin, you wanna use a hydrating primer. Just try to find a primer that works for you. For me, I have combination skin, so I like to really hydrate everything. I'm using the Makeup Forever hydrating primer all over, but I'm also gonna mix another primer afterwards, which I will show you guys. Taking a small amount, and I'm going to sort of work that into the skin, especially under the eyes, because my under eyes are really dry. Obviously, I've already moisturized my skin, applied eye cream and all that stuff. Make sure you give your moisturizer time to soak into the skin before you apply primer or makeup. After that, I'm gonna use the Clean Slate Timeless Smoothing Base Primer. This is by Tarte Cosmetics, and this one is so good for filling in large pores, any fine lines or anything like that. You just have to take a small amount and really work it into your fingers and warm up the product first, because it is a little bit of a thicker product. And then I like to push it into the apples of my cheeks. I also take whatever's left over and kind of pat that onto any fine lines in my under eyes, because it really fills them in. And I'm not really rubbing with this, I'm pushing it into the pores. We're gonna move on to the eyes. In my opinion, I like to do the face makeup last. If you're sitting there getting your makeup done and all of your face makeup is done and someone's working on your eye makeup, it almost seems like you're using that wear time of your foundation to finish getting ready. Whereas if you do your foundation last, I feel like it lasts longer. You don't get any handprints. If you're resting on your face, everything just stays really flawless. And also if you have fallout, it's not gonna fall onto your foundation because you're not gonna have any yet. You could really clean everything off if you need to. So my recommendation is to do your foundation last. Let's zoom in on the eyeballs. Not all the way, just, you know, let's zoom in a little. That's scary. I swear I look like a housewife. I wore my hair in old Hollywood curls. I really liked that classic look for my wedding, but I had longer hair. With shorter hair, it gives me a little bit of a news anchor vibe. Donna, back to you. We're gonna go ahead and prime the lids. I'm gonna go with the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. I find that this one really helps all the eyeshadow colors stand out. It does have a more opaque undertone. If you don't like that look, then I would go with something a little bit more clear. The Air Patrol has a little bit of a tint. This is by Benefit, but it's not as thick as the Soft Ochre. But if I was getting married again, which, you know, if I were, I mean, that came out wrong. I'm not gonna be getting married again. I'm really digging myself in a hole here. I would still use this as a primer for my wedding day. So I'm taking the Soft Ochre on a flat concealer brush, and I'm gonna clean up the brow area here lightly. It's gonna give us a nice little highlight, and then we're gonna drag that down into the crease and the lid. Personally, I like MAC Soft Ochre for looks like this only because I have a lot of redness on my lid space, and this really helps cancel it all out so that whatever colors I put on top of it stay true to their actual color. My eyes tend to pick up a lot of warm tones because they are so red underneath. So even if I put a cool tone brown, it starts to look red. Then I'm taking a nice little buffing brush and smoothing out all of the primer that we applied. You really wanna work this into the lids. You don't wanna have thick, chunky primer. You wanna make sure it's nice, smooth, and even. I'll be using this little Dior palette. It just has some nice blush and neutral tones because I feel like that's the most flattering. And I'm gonna take this bone color right over here. We're gonna pack that onto the brow bone. This is gonna give us a nice highlight. An alternative to this brow bone color, you could use any eyeshadow like Blanc type from MAC Cosmetics, pretty similar. Next, I'm gonna take a light brown eyeshadow. This one right here is just very, very soft. I'm using a Smith 230 brush. We're gonna start putting this into the crease very softly. Circular motions, windshield wiper, really giving yourself a shape. This is gonna help keep the eyeshadow look really soft and diffused and blended. So any light brown eyeshadow to lay down first is gonna just make your look that much better. I actually did not do my own wedding makeup, which it's funny because I was going to up until like 2 weeks before my wedding. One of my friends knew somebody who could do makeup and was good, and I liked it, and I actually felt good about it because at the time there was just so much going on, and I liked knowing that I didn't have to do anything. Somebody was gonna do my hair, somebody was gonna do my makeup, and I just got to sit there and enjoy. And what's crazy is I wasn't super picky on my wedding day. I was so relaxed and just cool about everything. I think everyone thought I was gonna be a bridezilla.
You surprised us all.
I surprised everyone. I showed up to my venue and my flowers were supposed to be all white. And I showed up and they were pink and purple. I kind of hate pink and purple, actually. I could have freaked out, but instead I just chugged a glass of champagne and moved on with my life. You just can't get upset at things on your wedding day because things are bound to go wrong. It's totally normal. You just have to go with the flow. Next, I'm gonna take a dark brown shade, this one right here. This is a Smith 235 brush. I'm gonna focus this on the outer part of the eye here. Actually, I'm gonna switch to the 230 because it's a little smaller. I'm gonna start working that over here into the outer part of the eye. So once you pack that onto the outer corner, you can somewhat slide it into the crease a little bit. I like to keep with these circular motions, make sure it's nice and diffused. Taking my cleaner brush, and I'm going to blend out those edges a little bit. If you're into more plummy or purple tones for your bridal makeup, you can always just switch the colors out to something that has a little more of those tones. For the lid, I'm gonna use a blush tone, this one right here. Something nice to warm up the eye look. So I'm just gonna pack that on. The reason I like this palette, and I'm sure you can find these colors in a lot of different palettes that you have or different companies, I like that they're not super warm, like Brown Script or Sienna. You guys know I love warm tones, but I do feel like these neutral tones keep everything like a classic look. And it also kind of depends on your dress and your colors of your bridesmaids. So many different color combinations you could do. This one is just, for me, like it would go with pretty much everything. Taking my brush and buffing out the edges of the eyeshadow we just put down on the lid. As far as liner goes, there's so many different ways that brides choose to wear their liner. Some people love a wing, some people don't love a wing. Depending on your eye shape, you can either smoke out your lash line, do a smoky smoldery wing, a traditional wing, there's black wings. I'm gonna go ahead and do a brown liquid wing. This is the Bobbi Brown Golden Bronze Sparkle because I love this eyeliner and I feel like it photographs so nice. It gives your eyes just a little sparkle without looking like glitter. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this on. Yeah, right, I wish I could just pop it on. It's more of a like, let me stress out while I do this. Starting from the outer corner, I wanna give my eye a little bit of a lift. I'm going to first wing it up and then come back. And I go thinner as I go into the inner corner of my eye to give the eye a more cat eye lifted look. Now I'm gonna curl the lashes. Super important to open up the eyes. This is a Shiseido lash curler. And it's very important to use waterproof mascara. We all know why, because we all cry. Everybody cries. It's like you think you're not gonna cry and then all of a sudden you're like, why the fuck am I crying? Something about weddings, man. I could go to a wedding of somebody I don't even know and start crying. No emotional attachment, I'm still crying. So waterproof mascara is key. This is by Too Faced. Really wiggle to deepen up that lash base and then pull upwards. As a bride, depending on your lashes or your comfort level, you could wear false lashes or you could skip it. If you have really long lashes, I don't see why you would need to wear a lot of false lashes unless you do individuals on the outer corner to lift the eyes. I also recommend individual lashes if somebody else is doing your makeup. It's really nice to have that because if you are crying, the glue, if it pops your lashes off in one area, that's it. Like your whole strip's gonna be uncomfortable. But if you have individual lashes, it's a lot harder for them to fall off. And if you do lose one, it's fine because they're all individually attached. When I used to do bridal makeup a lot, I would tend to go towards Ardell lashes for people who aren't comfortable wearing them, but they wanted to, just because I feel like they have a really thin band, so they're comfortable, they're really fluffy and fluttery, like these down here. There's a lot of different options from Ardell that you could choose from that are wispy and natural. So if you're not comfortable with lashes, I really recommend these. I'm going to go for Iconic Lights. These are a lighter version of Iconic. You know, these are my favorite. And I say whatever you feel most comfortable and confident in, that's what you should wear. And if you have a favorite lash, whether it be natural or dramatic, then you should wear those. This is what the Iconic Lights look like. They're super fluffy. They do have a little thicker of a band than the Ardells, but they're not as thick as the original Iconics. But I feel like these flatter my eye shape the best. I really wish I did have these on my wedding day. To make sure your eyelashes are gonna fit comfortably, take them off the tray, and you wanna first, with no glue, apply them to your eye to see how much longer they are than your natural eye shape. So take little scissors and cut it right off. We don't need you dead weight. And also notice that I didn't cut the inner corner of the eye because that's perfectly tapered already. You don't want to mess with that. Just cut the outer part. And then I'm going to use my House of Lashes glue here. Make sure you put a generous amount on the inner and outer corners of your lashes. Actually, put it all over in the middle too, because if you put too much on the inner and outer and not in the center, sometimes have you ever noticed when people blink, there's like a little gap sticking out in the middle? It's because there's not enough glue there. So just kind of give a generous amount and let them air dry for 30 to 60 seconds. The tackier the glue is on the strip before it touches your eye, the stronger it's going to hold. I also like to bend the lashes like this. It's just gonna give it more of a natural eye shape. Coming from above, starting at the inner corner, really trying to get them as close to my lash line as possible. Okay, so the glue is still drying on the lashes, but I'm gonna go ahead and tight line the upper waterline in here with a black liner. This is really important just because it's gonna make sure that no skin peeks through over here. You don't have any gaps between the lashes and your lash line. If you aren't wearing false lashes, if you do this, it's gonna thicken up your lash line and make it look like you have more lashes than you do. And this is just a NARS black pencil. I would suggest using a waterproof black liner. Don't use Inglot. I do that a lot, but I notice that Inglot sometimes creeps down here, so waterproof is better. Anything you can get waterproof for your wedding day, get it. That's where it's at. We're gonna finish off the eyes after we finish off the face makeup, and we're just gonna give our upper lashes some time to dry. For foundation on your wedding day, you wanna make sure if you have a foundation that works for your skin type, then wear that. Even if someone else is doing your makeup, I would recommend letting them use whatever they want on the trial after you tell them your skin type. But then if you feel like, no, this isn't, then go to your foundation. For me and my bridal kit, I always had Makeup Forever HD. I feel like Makeup Forever HD is such a good universal foundation that looks great on a lot of different skin types, and it photographs really, really nice. You don't wanna use a foundation with SPF because you're gonna get flashback. Super important not to, you know, make that mistake, because I believe this is the Y245. That's a little light. That's a little light. I'm just gonna go ahead and mix colors to get my color. With my beauty blender, I'm gonna apply this. And we've already had enough time for our primer to really settle into the skin. I'd say this is actually my color. This is Y405. So I'm applying a really nice light layer first and really making sure to press it into the skin. If you apply a little too much foundation, I feel like it could have more of a tendency to crease in your laugh lines, and a lot of times we put a lot of foundation on thinking like, oh my god, this is a special occasion. In reality, we just want to even out our skin tone, and then anything else that shows through, we can cover it with concealer. That way we have a nice all over light coverage and heavy coverage only where you need it. A large kabuki-like brush, this one's from Tarte. I have a little bit of foundation on there, and I'm going to sweep it up the neck just to make sure it's all blended with our foundation on our face. Be careful when you do this too. You might want to set it with a powder, because if you have any high necklines with your wedding dress, you don't want to get foundation on it. If you have dark circles and you need to correct that, I would use a color corrector. This one's from Bobbi Brown, and it's a peachy shade that could really help with any darkness. Or you could use this Bye Bye Under Eye. This is really thick. If you use a little amount and buff it in, it helps with any hollowness in your eyes if you have a hollow issue. I'm gonna use a tiny bit of that. Grabbed a little amount on the back of my hand. This is in the shade Tan for me. I'm gonna take this brush from Too Faced. It's just a little blender, synthetic. For some reason, this eye is a little darker here, not too dark, but I like to grab a little Bye Bye Under Eye in this area right here, just in that hollow. So I just want to make sure that's nice and blended. If you like a more lightweight concealer, I really love the Becca Luminous. It's very easy to wear. It's gonna look really natural if you want more of that natural look. If you want full coverage, this is a really good concealer. This is the Tarte Shape Tape. I'm in the shade Medium, but I don't want to use too much because I don't want to overwhelm my under eye. So just do a few little dots. And I'm gonna blend that in with my beauty blender. I do wish this concealer was around when I got married because this stuff is like really heavy duty. It sets really nicely. I'm gonna take a little concealer on a flat brush like this, Urban Decay E203. I'm gonna apply that on the outer part of my eye and clean up the wing with this just to make everything look nice and sharp. Adding concealer under your wing makes such a huge difference. Because you're adding that brightness under a dark wing, it makes the wing pop that much more and it looks so much cleaner. So with the Shape Tape, I also like to do a highlighting look down the nose and on the forehead. Slim it down, give it a nice straight line look. I just let the concealer sit there for a second and let it set. Also on the Cupid's bow and on the chin. To apply a little bit on the high points of your face is kind of just gonna give you an all over balance of all of the lights and darks that we're gonna do with the bronzer. You don't wanna let it sit for too long. And then I'm gonna blend out all of that concealer with my Beauty Blender. If you need to use a smaller brush in smaller detail areas, go ahead and do that. I squeeze it like this so that I don't interrupt my brows here. So you wanna make sure to set the concealer under your eyes because nobody likes to crease. So if you are someone that's prone to creasing, make sure that you let your makeup artist know. A lot of people like to bake the under eyes because that helps for them not to crease. If it works for you, then do that method. If it doesn't work for you, baking doesn't work for everybody. Some people it's a little too drying. I really recommend this as a good universal powder that could work for everybody as far as I've seen. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. It's a super, super finely milled powder. It's not gonna look too cakey on your face. I recommend this for your wedding day because if you get oily throughout the night, you can touch up with this powder. It's not gonna build up on your skin like other powders tend to do. Like you're reapplying, reapplying, reapplying. This looks like nothing. It just mattifies. Take that on a Morphe brush. Doesn't say what type, just a fluffy brush. And I'm gonna press this into the under eye. Tapping motions. I'm also gonna take this into the creases of the nose because we all know how the foundation likes to play you over here. And anywhere I get oily, so for me that's the sides of my nose here. And I like to apply this powder on the apples of the cheeks as well. So now you wanna give yourself a glow. I'm gonna be using the Estee Lauder Heat Wave highlight, and this is the ABH A23 brush, and I'm gonna apply the highlight before I apply any bronzer or anything like that. You can use a cream highlight and then a liquid, but I'm not gonna put any cream on my face because I'm not going for that dewy look. I need everything to be powder and set. So I start in circular motions on the highest point, just like this, and then we're gonna bring it up like this, and then around town. If you feel like you accidentally applied too much, like I feel like I just did, just go over it with your Beauty Blender, push it into the skin. So on the tops of the cheekbones, and then a little bit up here on the high points of the forehead. If you get too oily everywhere, I would limit the highlight just to the tops of the cheekbones. Taking a smaller brush, I'm gonna take that down the bridge of the nose very lightly on the Cupid's bow. Give yourself that highlight mustache. It always looks crazy at first, but then you put lipstick and stuff over it and you don't really see it as much though. I like a little highlight on the chin. Some people don't like this, but I think it kind of gives your face the overall glow. Light amount. I'm also going to now take a little bit of this highlight and apply it in the inner corner of the eye. I have an all over matte eye, but I still want to tie in a little shimmer. All right, so now we have that overall glowy, angelic look, which is what I'm going for. Very happy about it. We're gonna bronze, and I'm not gonna go crazy with the bronzer. I'm using HOOLA by Benefit. This is a really nice one. And I'm gonna pick it up with this huge Japanese brush. And I'm gonna start with the forehead. Sometimes I feel like my forehead photographs long. It's just like, everyone tells me I'm crazy, but that's just, you know, we all have our things about ourselves. So I'm gonna put bronzer here to try to shorten it out a little bit. Push it into the hairline. All those little baby hairs need love too. So now I'm taking this smaller Japanese brush. I'm gonna take that into the contours of the face. So I like my bronzer to really blend into the highlight. I like to apply the highlight first because it just looks better that way to me. It also gives you a nice guide as to where your cheekbones are and how you could hug the cheekbone with the highlight. If you need to contour the nose, then go ahead and do that now at this time. I'm gonna use HOOLA bronzer still for that. I'm just gonna do the tip of the nose to make it look a little bit more narrow. After you do your makeup, if you do heavy contouring, take a picture before you go out. I swear there's so many times where I've done my contour and I thought it was so good, and then I went outside and I was like, whoa. Or I took a picture and you could really see what's going on. So I just put the powder on the very tip of the nose to refine it, and then whatever's left over on the brush, I'll take up. We're almost done, guys. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's coming to a close here. For blush, this was always one of my favorite blushes to use on brides. I love this blush. It's one of my favorites. It's MAC Peaches. So I'm gonna apply that to the cheeks. And depending on people's face shape, you always wanna apply your blush in different areas to give yourself a different effect. Some people don't like the blush on the apples of the cheeks. I feel like that gives you a youthful look, although some people don't like that. I love it. If you have a more round face and you want to kind of make yourself look more like that, you would put the blush a little bit higher up. But for me, I kind of like that bally, cheeky look. So I like to smile, apply it right there, and I'm lightly patting and sweeping upwards into the bronzer. So finishing off the eyes, I'm gonna take the same palette, get this party started here. Taking the dark brown shade on the Dose of Colors pencil brush and applying that on the outer part of the eye here, if you wanna keep with that look of the eye. So whatever's left over on the brush, I'm gonna lightly run that into the inner corner, but keep it not as heavy as the outer part of the eye. Sometimes I like to deepen the smoke a little bit more, just on the outer corner. So I'm gonna take Americano, this is by Makeup Geek, with an angled brush and push that into the lashes. And I'm just doing that only on this outer part of the eye. So depending on your preference, some people like to put a brown liner in the lash line. Some people like to open up the eyes with a more nude liner, and some people really love black liner. So it's all preference as to what you like. I have really small eyes, so I like to open them up a little bit more and add brightness. I'm gonna be using the Tarte Fake Awake. You know what works really good for this as well, which I really love, is the Benefit Highbrow. That does not move at all in the waterline. And we're just gonna lightly run that along the waterline. For my lower lashes, I personally would use a waterproof mascara, but for the sake of this video and my baby ass lashes, I'm gonna use the Tarte one because this is the only one that really makes my lower lashes look thicker and more. Use a waterproof mascara, 100%, definitely. Just grazing over my lashes. This clogged pore is not going away, so I like to give myself a beauty mark. You guys know this. Pat over it with a little powder so it looks a little more natural. And I just used the Melt Wrought eyeshadow. So the last thing we're gonna do is lip color. Depending on what you like, I feel like you wanna use a lip color that's not super nude. I think I went a little too nude. Looking back at my photos, it was like a little too pinky nude and light for my face. If I were to go back, I would choose something a little bit more lively, something that has life, looks like your lips are blushing from within. So we're gonna try out this Bite Beauty lip liner. This is in the shade 020. Using this first all over your lips and really working the lip liner into your lips, because that's gonna be the second barrier. So once your lipstick fades away, you're gonna have this hard pencil liner as a base. So it's not going to go straight to like, oh shit, you need to reapply. There's gonna be a nice base under there for you. So really work that in. Take your finger and push it into your lips. For the lip color, you can go with something a little bit more rosy. This is a liquid lipstick by Girlactic. It's called Bashful. Or you can go with a lip cream. I mean, you can go with a lipstick too. It just kind of depends on whether you want something that's going to not come off, which I personally like. Lip creams are a little bit easier to reapply. The last touch, don't forget setting spray. Setting spray is so important for your wedding day. Whatever skin type you have, use a setting spray, and I find that this one's the best. Urban Decay All Nighter, classic. Classic never dies, honey. This is definitely gonna help the longevity of your makeup wear all night. Okay, so this is the finished makeup look. It's just soft, classic, timeless. For any brides out there who are getting married, congratulations, and don't be too nervous. It's very fun and exciting. Honestly, you don't even remember all the stuff you stressed about. You just remember how much fun you had, so good luck at your wedding, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Center myself. Excuse me? Esteban? Esteban? Back to you, Judy.